Fauci and Powell speak, Uber makes a big move, and financial stocks get a small boost. This is the Silver Report's weekly review where we take a look at the headlines that move the markets during the week and all things investment related. On Monday, the markets closed mixed. The Dow closed down 109 points, down but well off its low for the day. The S&P 500 closed up less than a point, and the Nasdaq closed up 71 points. On news that moved the markets, Tesla CEO Elon Musk announced on Twitter that he is restarting production at his California factory, going against the local government shut-in order that deemed Tesla factory workers as non-essential. Elon Musk could be fined $1,000 a day or up to 90 days in jail for operating in violation of the health order. Musk filed suit against the California county and has also threatened to move Tesla's headquarters to Texas or Nevada. Musk did receive support from Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, who stated California should do whatever is necessary to help Tesla reopen. Tesla and Musk also received support from President Trump later in the week. In earnings news, Tilray reported a revenue beat by $2.3 million and an EPS miss by $1.21. Revenue of $52 million was up 126% year over year, but net losses came in at $184 million. On Tuesday, the market started positive but ended in the red. The Dow closed down 457 points, the S&P closed down 60 points, and the Nasdaq closed down 189 points. Some news that helped to bring the markets down came from Dr. Fauci, who warned the Senate on Tuesday that reopening too quickly could lead to avoidable suffering and death. In other news, Boeing CEO David Calhoun's statement also helped to bring the markets down. Calhoun predicted that a major U.S. carrier would go bankrupt in the next several months. All the major airline stocks, including Boeing, fell on his statement. In a Luckin Coffee update, the company asked for the resignation of the CEO and CFO. In case you missed it, several months ago, the company was investigating $300 million in fabricated transactions. The stock is down 89% year to date and has been halted for several weeks. GrubHub, on the other hand, went against the market and closed up 29% on news that Uber made an offer to acquire GrubHub. Early rumors suggest that the two are way off on price, but no actual purchase price has been released. In earnings news, Marriott reported an EPS miss by 52 cents, but beat revenue estimates by $650 million. The company believes occupancy and booking trends have stabilized, but at very low levels, a small bright spot for the hotel industry. On Wednesday, the Dow closed down 516 points, the S&P closed down 50 points, and the Nasdaq closed down 139 points. If Dr. Fauci provided the markets with the medical ramifications of the coronavirus on Tuesday, then Fed Chairman Jerome Powell provided the markets with the financial ramifications of the coronavirus on Wednesday, and it scared investors into hitting the sell button. Powell took the wind out of the sail of any investor believing in a V-shaped recovery, advising that a deep, long downturn could leave behind lasting damage to economic productivity. Jerome Powell did shoot down the thoughts of negative interest rates, something that President Trump has pushed for. Powell stated negative rates is not something that the Fed is looking at. It didn't help the markets that billionaire hedge fund investor David Tepper called current markets overvalued, and also stated that the markets did not present a good risk to reward at the current levels. In earnings news, Cisco reported an EPS beat by 8 cents and a revenue beat by $130 million. Revenue fell 7.6% year over year, and cash flow from operations fell 2% year over year. The good news for Cisco was the company's Zoom rival WebEx saw 500 million meeting participants, and in April the service saw 25 billion meeting minutes, more than triple the minutes it saw in February. On Thursday, the Dow was down as much as 450 points, but was able to put in a strong rally to close up on the day. The Dow closed up 377 points, the S&P closed up 32 points, and the Nasdaq closed up 80 points. The early sell-off could be pinned to the weekly unemployment number. Last week, 2.9 million Americans filed for unemployment benefits, but the market's turnaround could be attributed to bank stocks, which saw price moves upward after being beaten down for much of the coronavirus crisis. Citibank was up 3.6%, JP Morgan was up 4%, and American Express was up 7%. In more positive news for the banks, Bank of America reported its daily credit and debit card data for May showed meaningful improvements in card spending relative to March. Also, Jerome Powell's dismissal of negative interest rates as an option in his talks the day before may have given investors a better long-term outlook for bank stocks. The New York Stock Exchange announced they plan to partially reopen the trading floor on May 26. The New York Stock Exchange has been limited to electronic trading since March 23rd. In earnings news, Applied Materials reported an EPS of 89 cents, which was in line with estimates but missed on revenue estimates by $20 million. Revenue was up 12% year over year, and the company did not provide any future outlook. On Friday, the markets were able to brush off an early session sell-off to close higher. The Dow closed up 60 points, the S&P 500 closed up 11 points, and the Nasdaq closed up 70 points. News that contributed to the early session losses came from the Commerce Department, who reported retail sales declined 16.4%, which came in much higher than the 12% economists expected for April. Online platforms, however, saw an 8% jump in April. In old but new hostilities between the US and China, the Commerce Department expanded the US's authority to require licenses to sell semiconductors made abroad with US technology to Huawei. The Commerce Department believes Huawei exploited a loophole to acquire US technologies by purchasing semiconductors made abroad. The new regulation by the Commerce Department closes that loophole. But China is said to be ready to retaliate by launching investigations into Apple, Cisco, and Qualcomm and suspending purchases from Boeing. Fun. And in news we've heard before, US state attorney generals are gearing up to bring an antitrust lawsuit against Google. The story was reported by Reuters and still developing, but the federal probe focuses on search bias, advertising, and management of the Android operating system. Overall, the markets closed down on the week. The big declines on Tuesday and Wednesday were too much for the markets to overcome. In crypto news, the 4 major currencies we follow all pulled back during the week. Bitcoin was trading at $9,437, down 5% from last week's price. Ethereum was trading at $197.03, down 8% from its price last week. Litecoin was trading at $43.04, down 11% from last week. And Ripple was trading at 19 cents, down 13.6% from last week's price. Crude oil had a big week, gaining 20% in price since last week. Crude oil closed the week out at $29.65 per barrel. A big winner for the week was Upwork, which was up 39% on the week on no major news. The company's platform does connect businesses to freelancers, which could explain the reason for the jump in price as companies attempt to navigate the new normal with their workforces. A big loser for the week was Ambac Financial Group, which fell 25% on the week. That's a wrap for this week's market review. If you want to dig deeper into the headlines we covered, the links to the stories are in the description below, and a link to sign up to our weekend article in Focus is also in the description below. Thanks again for checking out the Silver Reports market review. This channel is dedicated to anyone who wants to start investing but doesn't know how or where to start. If you have any questions, ask in the comment section, like and subscribe, and may your next investment be your best investment. See you next week.